You are watching No Filter with Debbie. These are my views and opinions. Welcome to No Filter with Debbie. I'm Debbie Schlossel, and you know what's driving me crazy? The tech giants and their censorship. We've discussed this many times on this show. They will censor anybody and anything that they object to because it gives a different point of view than their chosen narrative, whether it's about COVID, whether it's about the elections, whether it's individual people like Donald Trump and many others who've been censored by Facebook, by Twitter, by the tech giants. This has to stop, but it won't stop until we rise up against it. And I'll give you some of the reasons a little later on about why it won't stop unless we rise up, because you will see what these tech giants are doing in order to solidify their power. But to begin with, this is really driving me nuts. Lara Trump, the president's daughter in law, the wife of Eric Trump, she hosts a podcast. I believe it's called The Right Side. She yesterday did an interview with President Trump. And in the interview, she asked him if he was going to run again in 2024. And he kind of winked and nodded. He said, "You might hear some good news." He said something like that. He didn't say, "I'm running." I don't believe he's running. He's done this before, this hemming and hawing and winking and nodding. In fact, every single time he's explored running for president, which has been multiple times while The Apprentice was on, and it was to promote The Apprentice, he gave a wink and a nod to a presidential run. He never ran except for this last time in 2016, and I believe, and of course 2020 for reelection. But in 2016, I believe the reason he ran at all was he was pushed into it. I don't believe he was actually going to enter that race. But when NBC dumped The Apprentice because they did not like what he said about illegal aliens, he said, "Hey, I could actually win this thing. I'm leading in the polls. What do I have to lose? I've already lost my TV show and they're not going to run my pageants. What do I have to lose?" So that was the big news on this podcast. But to me, the even bigger news was you didn't get to see the video on any of the tech giant social media forums. Why? Because they censored it. Primarily Facebook and its subsidiary, Instagram. They let Lara Trump know that she was not to post this. So they are really big brotherish in all of this. I want you to take a look at the first email they sent to Lara Trump. She had planned to post this video at 9:30 p.m. and look at what the email she got was. "Hi, folks. I saw on Lara Trump's Instagram account that she will be hosting an interview with President Trump tonight. Just a reminder that the content posted on Facebook and Instagram in the voice of President Trump is not currently allowed on our platforms, including new posts with President Trump speaking, and will be removed if posted, resulting in additional limitations on accounts that posted it. This guidance applies to all campaign accounts and pages, including Team Trump, other campaign messaging vehicles on our platforms, and former surrogates. Best," which they don't mean best. This is really Orwellian. And then she posted it anyway at 9:30 when she had planned to. She got this. "Hi, folks. We are reaching out to let you know that we removed content from Lara Trump's Facebook page that featured President Trump speaking. In line with the block we placed on Donald Trump's Facebook and Instagram accounts, further content posted in the voice of Donald Trump will be removed and result in additional limitations on the accounts. Thanks, Caitlin of the former Soviet Union." I mean, basically, that is what's going on here. This is totalitarian. Can you imagine back in the day if AT&T or Verizon or one of these companies, or let's say they did it now, but back in the day, let's say it was one of the Ma Bells or whatever, or Ma Bell or one of the Baby Bells. Can you imagine if they interrupted your phone call and they said, "We've been monitoring your phone call and we heard that in a few minutes you're going to tell people who are on the other end of the call about President Trump, and you're not allowed to talk about that on our phone services. So if we hear you do that, you might lose your phone service and we'll definitely mute out your conversation so the people at the other end can't hear it. That is the equivalent of what Facebook is doing. They are monitoring her account, and not just hers. You can bet everyone in the Trump family, anyone that ever had any kind of prominent role in the Trump campaign, anybody and everybody. And how many people are they employing to do this? This is not algorithms they're using there. This is people monitoring these accounts and warning them ahead of time. Hey, this is like that Minority Report movie starring Tom Cruise. Hey, we saw you might commit a crime. We just want to let you know we're arresting you now. This is what's going on. It's very Orwellian, and it's got to stop. We have to rise up about this because otherwise, Big Brother Facebook will only get stronger. And we've got a meme for that. Big Brother is watching you, and they were watching. You read those letters. You saw that. They were monitoring her account. This is absurd. I don't understand why Islamic terrorist groups still are allowed to communicate with their followers all over Facebook. The leader of Iran, who executes gay people, who executes Christians en masse every year, why are they still allowed to communicate with people? But Donald Trump and any member of his family and any video they do featuring him is not allowed to be communicated to the general public. Why is that? Why? Well, you know why. Because they have a double standard, they have an agenda. This is like a public utility, which is why they got Section 230 exemptions from defamation lawsuits. Do you have Section 230? I don't have Section 230. Anyone could sue me for defamation. They could sue Beck for defamation. They won't win. It's hard to win those suits in America, but they could do it. And we don't have that kind of freedom to say whatever we want and have people post whatever they want on our websites and on our pages and get away with it and not have any suits, have immunity from lawsuits. We don't have that. They have that. Now, why do they have that? Because they were deemed akin to a public utility like a Ma Bell or one of the Baby Bells. And in accordance with that, they should not be able to do this. They should be neutral publishers. That was the whole reason they got these exemptions, was to be neutral publishers. And as you can see very clearly, they are not neutral at all or even close. So there's that. Now, I told you earlier that this is not going to change unless we rise up, because when you see what these tech companies are doing in Washington, D.C., you can see why they got Section 230 and why their power is only getting stronger and will get stronger. Take a look at this tweet. So you can see in 2020, Facebook and Amazon spent more money lobbying the government than Boeing, Lockheed, Raytheon, and Northrop Grumman, which are the four biggest defense contractors. They're usually the biggest lobbying spenders. But Facebook and Amazon now are the largest. Look at, they each spent almost $20 million a piece. And that's just Facebook and Amazon. Right below them is Comcast, almost 15 million there. And I'm sure if we go down the list, we'll find Twitter, we'll find Google, we'll find all of them. Really, they're probably all in the top 15. But this is why nothing is going to change. They are greasing the palms on both sides of the aisle, which is why when the Republicans were in power of both houses of Congress and they had President Trump the first 2 years, that was what Joe Biden has right now, both houses of Congress, and now he has the White House. But this is why the Republicans didn't do anything. The tech censorship was already starting well before that. They didn't do anything because they are getting their palms greased on both sides of the aisle. Now, the only person that's actually spoken out about this, besides a lot of Republican senators who've begun questioning the tech giants at some of the hearings that we've shown you in the last several months, is Bernie Sanders. He's the only one you hear from on the left. Yes, Elizabeth Warren wants to break them up, But Bernie Sanders said that he was troubled by Trump's ban from Twitter and Facebook. He thinks it's a problem. Good for him. You know what? A broken clock is right twice a day. He's right once in a blue moon. So I'll still take the broken clock, but he is right on this one. Now, when we come back, I want to show you some of the hypocritical behavior of Hollywood against the state of Georgia, and we'll show you why they are against Georgia. It's absurd, and we'll show it to you after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Hi, Hunter Ellis here for Night Hero Binoculars by Atomic Beam. These binoculars let you see anything, even in pitch black darkness. Gotcha.
The secrets are powerful wide-angle atomic beam laser that reveals objects up to 150 yards away, hidden by darkness.
During the day, Night Hero gives you 10 times magnification. And when the sun goes down, press the Night Bright button to see clearly in the dark. Light up garbage-eating critters or spot thieves before they even get close. Call or click now and get Night Hero binoculars for just $39.99. Order right now and you can double it. Plus, get our best-selling atomic beam flashlight. Just pay a separate fee. We'll even ship them to you free. This TV special offer is not available on Amazon. You can get it all, but you have to order now.
Call 1-800-619-1091. That's 1-800-619-1091. Or visit bynighthero.com. That's bynighthero.com. Order now.
Beck Communications is now hiring independent sales agents around the state. We're looking for highly motivated individuals to take advantage of this opportunity, selling advertising for our news and sports programming on Beck TV and sponsorships for the Bismarck Bucks indoor football team. Independent sales agents will make 50% commission on their completed sales for all products. Beck TV is the leader in broadcasting local sports, owner of the Bismarck Bucks indoor football team, and originator of newly launched news opinion programming. Submit your application now at careers@bechtel.coop. This is an exciting opportunity you can't pass up. 50% commission for independent sales agents now hiring at Beck Communications.
Hi, it's me, Anthony Sullivan. And yes, you've actually caught me at home relaxing because life's been pretty worry-free since I got coverage with American Residential Warranty.
You won't believe what ARW covers. Heating and air conditioning, washers and dryers, kitchen appliances, plumbing, water heaters, electrical systems, flat screens and laptops, even pools and spas, and so much more.
Call American Residential Warranty. They'll get you covered.
1-800-219-1467.
Attention! Have you or a loved one suffered from maculopathy, a serious retinal injury, after taking the prescription drug Almiron for interstitial cystitis or bladder pain syndrome? In 2018, a researcher at the Emory School of Medicine linked Almiron, a prescription drug that treats interstitial cystitis or bladder pain syndrome, to maculopathy, which is sight-threatening and can cause an abrupt change of vision. Call Almiron Justice for a free legal consultation.
Please call 800-395-5680.
Non-attorney spokesperson. This is a paid advertisement for legal services sponsored by Nightline Legal. Cases assigned on a random basis to participating law firms.
This drug remains approved by the FDA.
If you or a loved one regularly took Zantac and were later diagnosed with cancer, call right now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. Potential cancers include bladder cancer, colon cancer, kidney cancer, stomach cancer, liver cancer, pancreatic cancer. Do not stop taking a prescribed medication without first consulting with your doctor. Discontinuing a prescribed medication without your doctor's advice can result in injury or death.
Call 1-800-230-9210.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So, a lot of people are up in arms about the state of Georgia. What did Georgia do? It's not that they don't have a mask mandate anymore. It's not that they unlocked Georgia and don't have the results of states like my native Michigan, where there was a mask mandate. There still is a mask mandate. Everything is still under capacity limits and so on. That's not what people are upset about. It's not about President Trump versus the Governor Brian Kemp. That's on the back burner. This is about the law that was passed in Georgia to ensure that election fraud is limited and stopped, which is what we need to do around the country. People on the left should want that as much as people on the right, but they don't, because they want to continue to cheat, to win. And when you have mail-in voting en masse, and you don't demand IDs, and you don't demand signature verification, You are going to have fraud. That is an inevitability, as sure as death and taxes. So, all of these people who are upset about it are frauds because they say they want free and open and fair elections and everybody to be able to participate and so on. But what they really mean is they want people to be able to participate multiple times, or people who are not eligible to vote to be able to participate, or dead people to participate, the usual Democrat constituency. They want all of these groups to be able to vote to change elections. Now, did it change the presidential election? I don't know. And the reason I don't know is there's no way to find out. Because once, as we have said on this show many times, once the ballot leaves the envelope, we have no way to know that if we find the envelope from a dead person that has been dead for 20 years, if they voted, we have no way of getting their ballot back and throwing it out or destroying it. We have no way of doing that. It's already in the pool to be counted. So Georgia passed this law to change a lot of these ridiculous things that went on in this election. Unprecedented. This never happened before. Not just the en masse mail-in voting, but a lot of the other things, the relaxation of the signature requirements, the not checking the signatures, not checking IDs. You have to show an ID at the bank when you want to cash a check. You have to show an ID sometimes even when you want to deposit that check at the bank if you go in person. You also have to show an ID at the airport. At federal court, try going in there. They're going to ask you for your ID now. So you have to show ID at a lot of places. This is just hypocritical and fraud. All of these people who object to this, they show their ID all the time. They have ID. They don't want to do this because they want to be able to vote for multiple people. They want to be able to vote for dead people. They want to be able to do a lot of things to affect the elections, and we can't let them. And Governor Brian Kemp signed this into law in Georgia. Now, you've heard a lot of things about this law that just aren't true or that have been slanted without giving you the full facts. You probably heard that in Georgia, they won't even let people pass out food or water to people who've been waiting in line for a long time. And why isn't that fair? Why isn't that right? Well, I'll tell you why. Because they're not just going to pass it out. You know what's going to happen? People from the Biden campaign or the Kamala campaign, they are going to pass out stuff and they're going to be wearing those t-shirts. That's called electioneering. It's not allowed. It shouldn't be allowed. They're going to put stickers on the free Big Mac they give you, or the free soda or shake they give you, or the free bottle of water they give you. There's going to be labels on there for campaigns. It's called electioneering. That's why you're not allowed to do it. And even if they don't put those on, again, they're going to be wearing t-shirts from the campaign. We're going to know who they are. That influences elections. Somebody's starving or dying of thirst. Nobody's starving or dying of thirst in line at the polls. Number one. Have you ever heard of such a thing? It doesn't happen. Well, let's say somebody's very thirsty or very hungry and they need something. Well, they aren't sure who they're going to vote for yet. Sometimes that does happen. Or they're looking at one candidate, but now they get a Big Mac and a soda or a bottle of water and a sandwich from somebody else, a sub from Subway. That's going to change their vote in a lot of cases. So that's why it's not allowed. It's not about, we're draconian and we're evil, mean Republicans and conservatives, and we want people to starve and die of thirst in the lines. First of all, again, it's never happened. And secondly, there's a reason for that. And there are a lot of other things that this law does that are very, very important. It limits the amount of time mail-in voting can happen, and early voting, that has to stop. Early voting is terrible. You don't know the whole picture. Things happen, information comes out, and you've already voted. And guess what? Not every state gets to take their ballots back. North Dakota, it's one of those states where if you vote, too bad, you can't change your vote. In my native Michigan, you can get your ballot back and change it up until Election Day, maybe even up until the polls close. North Dakota, forget it. Once your ballot is received, good luck. So there are a lot of things in this bill that are very, very necessary. And of course, because it's a good bill, like clockwork and very predictably, Barack Obama, along with the rest of the liberals, object. So take a look at his tweet. Let's be clear, this is a deliberate attempt to undermine our democracy by making it harder to vote. That's why passing the For the People Act is so important and why every one of us needs to keep up the fight. Our future depends on it. So, no, our future depends on laws like the Georgia law. Every state should have that. And North Dakota has similar legislation in the works. North Dakota didn't have as bad of a situation as Georgia and other states had, so they don't really need to lock things up and tighten things up as much, but that needs to happen. Now, when we come back from the break, I want to show you why this is a winning issue for Republicans, even for Democrats, even for regardless of race. This is a winning issue. And I'm also going to show you why Hollywood is so hypocritical on this. That and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Introducing the Cool Turtle, the ultra-comfortable mask enhancer that creates a protective, cool, and breathable space between your mask and your face. Simply slide under any mask or gaiter and immediately feel the refreshing pocket of air surrounding your face. Cool Turtle's ergonomically designed soft, comfortable shell immediately reduces mask friction, allowing you to breathe and talk in a comfortable environment.
I can actually breathe. With the Cool Turtle, no more sweating.
It's like I don't even have a mask on.
Call now and get not one, not two, but 3 Cool Turtles for just $10. Order now and we'll send you 2 more Cool Turtles free. No fees, absolutely free. Plus, you can get a 10-pack of 4-ply face masks. Just pay a separate fee. This offer is not available on Amazon. Get the real Cool Turtle now.
Call 1-800-270-1219. That's 1-800-270-1219. Or visit getcoolturtle.com. Order now.
Beck News brings you real people and real news. Every weekday on KNDB, KNDM, and KRDK. Start your evening with the Dr. Duke Show at 4. Take a fresh look at current events with Ladies of Another View at 4:30. Go down the road with Joel at 5:30. Watch No Apologies with Becker at 9. Cap off your night with No Filter with Debbie at 10. Beck News. Real people, real news.
Indoor football is back in Bismarck. Bucks football season is right around the corner. Grab a friend or family member for a night of action-packed, hard-hitting entertainment. The Bucks open at the Bismarck Event Center May 8th as they take on the Massachusetts Pirates. Catch the sweetest seats in the house right on the sidelines with VIP service at a Bucks turf table. Available now for single game purchases. Secure your tickets today by calling 701-595-0771. Bucks football, half the field and double the fun.
Beck Communications is now hiring independent sales agents around the state. We're looking for highly motivated individuals to take advantage of this opportunity, selling advertising for our news and sports programming on Beck TV and sponsorships for the Bismarck Bucks indoor football team. Independent sales agents will make 50% commission on their completed sales for all products. Beck TV is the leader in broadcasting local sports, owner of the Bismarck Bucks indoor football team, and originator of newly launched news opinion programming. Submit your application now at careers@bechtel.coop. This is an exciting opportunity you can't pass up. 50% commission for independent sales agents now hiring at Beck Communications.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. The first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. When you buy one set of sheets, you'll get another set absolutely free.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So before the break, we were talking about this horror of horrors, the Georgia election laws that they just passed. It's actually a package of laws to make the elections more fair and more immune to fraud, which everybody should want on both sides, unless they're dishonest and they're not coming to the table as an honest deal maker who wants fair elections, which they are not. So now Hollywood has resorted to the usual of what they always do when a state isn't woke enough for them. Many figures in Hollywood have now said, or I shouldn't say many, but a few big names have said they're boycotting Georgia because of this law. One of them is Mark Hamill. He's a big liberal, in case you don't know. Mark Hamill is just, he's gone nuts. He's off the deep end. He has been for years. Not a guy you want to follow politically. You know what? I would say beam me up, Scotty. But I guess in this case, I have to say beam me up, Darth, because your son doesn't know what he's talking about. But anyway, there's Mark Hamill. There's also James Mangold, who has directed a number of movies that are not, they're like semi-big. They're towards the top. I would say they're like B plus or A minus movies. He said, James Mangold, that he is not going to be in Georgia. I will not direct a film in Georgia. So I responded to him, and here's my tweet in response. Do you have any projects with or are you buying from Amazon? It required workers to have ID to vote in union elections. Also made them vote in person. And what's your position on a COVID passport? You know, just for consistency's sake, tell us your answers, Hollywood Jim or James. So here's the thing. As you know, as I said in the tweet, Amazon had elections. They were trying to defeat the union. There were a lot of attempts to organize unions in Amazon throughout its warehouses and delivery services, and it was defeated. Why? Because Jeff Bezos and his minions, not the yellow minions from the animated movie, but his minions, his people that work for him, they worked overtime to make this like what we should be working overtime to do with our elections. He made everybody vote in person. You could not vote absentee. We are not against absentee. We just don't want it for any reason at all. You should have to be out of town or sick or infirm or some other reason. You're in jail awaiting trial. Why you would vote absentee, you have to have a good reason. And not everybody should just be able to do this. That's what Amazon said. Only worse. Amazon said you cannot vote absentee at all. They also required everybody to show ID. So what's wrong with Georgia doing that? Is Barack Obama attacking Amazon for its efforts to stop the union, in which it was successful at doing? Is Barack Obama saying, oh, no directors should do anything with Amazon Prime, which I don't think would be hard for him. He's got to deal with Netflix. But the bottom line is that these people are hypocrites. And the other thing is, all these liberals, they want you to have a COVID passport, like we discussed on the show yesterday. Joe Biden is floating this idea. And we showed you the video of Governor Ron DeSantis saying, hell no, we're not doing that in Florida. We're not going to allow that. But a COVID passport, what is that? It's a form of ID that you have to show. Papers, please. But apparently, you can't show your driver's license to vote. You can't be required to do that. That's absurd. Stop with the double standards. Hollywood and Barack Obama and all you liberals, you're just frauds. Now, this is a winning issue. How do I know that? Well, Rasmussen polls. Look what Scott Rasmussen and his company came up with. So this is Rasmussen's poll tweet. Should voters be required to show photo identification, such as a driver's license, before being allowed to vote? 1,000 national likely voters. Yes. By the way, 1,000 national likely voters are not just registered to vote. They're people who regularly vote, so we know they're very likely to vote because they vote in previous elections consistently. White people said, yes, they should have to show a driver's license, 74%. Blacks, are blacks racist against blacks? Who apparently this is, according to Obama and the liberals, designed to hurt. Apparently they don't have a problem with it, 69%. That's a pretty strong majority. Other non-white, 82%. So other minorities, 82%. All voters, 75%. So 3 out of every 4 voters think you should be required to show a photo ID. You know what the problem with this poll is? They did not survey people who are ineligible to vote or who are likely three-time voters in one election, three likely cheaters. Because I guarantee you 100% of them would be against this and say it's racist. 100%. So this is a winning issue, and all Republicans, all conservatives should be for this. Frankly, the Democrats should know that they should be for this. They're people. Blacks vote majority Democrat. Yes, Donald Trump got more of them, but they vote majority Democrat for the large part, for the most part. The Democrat Party is not responsive to their views on this Rasmussen poll. Now, you may argue that Rasmussen does lean right. That's true, he does. But I'll bet you could replicate the same poll. You would probably get pretty close numbers. People want ID. They don't think it's fair that they have to show ID, and then people get to cheat. People don't like cheaters. Even cheaters don't like cheaters. So they don't, even though they say honor among thieves, it's not really so. All right, so there's that. Now, I want to show you why else we need this. So there was a study of Missoula County, Montana, Big Sky Country. All right, our neighbors to the west, or they are to the west of us. I want you to take a look at what happened in Big Sky Country in Missoula County. So this is from John Lott, who is a columnist at Real Clear Politics and Real Clear Investigations. He's also, by the way, a very renowned researcher on gun statistics, very good for the Second Amendment. He's done a lot of very scholarly work on this. I had the great honor and pleasure of meeting him when I worked on Capitol Hill. Just really smart guy. Good guy to follow on Twitter. So he got the statistics from this story. 4,592 out of 72,491 mail-in ballots in just Missoula County, Montana lacked envelopes. So we don't know how they got there. We don't know if they're valid. Anybody could have voted those. We don't know who voted them. That's over 6% of the votes. Some states, Donald Trump lost by much less than 6%. Adding in envelopes without dates or check signatures, the total comes to over 7%. That is a lot. All right, so they did a random subsample of 15,455 mail-in envelopes for other defects, and of those, they found also that 55% lacked postmark dates, and 53% never had their signature checked. So that's another 0.7% of all ballots. That's a lot when, again, you consider the razor-thin margins that Joe Biden won in some states and that by which Donald Trump lost. So that is just one county in one state in America, Missoula County, and that's in Montana, our neighbors to the west, where Trump won. So what would have happened in some of these states where Trump lost? Could he have made up the difference? We'll never know because they did all of this, and that's why we need the Georgia law. All right, when we come back, we'll show you some video that shows how hypocritical Joe Biden is being on the filibuster and why that is important. Also, Kamala Harris and Pete Buttigieg, some of their crazy comments on video. That and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. I started by using the world's best cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River. It's ultra soft and breathable, but extremely durable. My Giza sheets also include full 21-inch wide pillowcases that will fit over any pillow and deep pocket sheets that will fit over any mattress. The first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Giza Dream Sheets are available in a variety of colors. Use your promo code, and for a limited time, when you buy one set of sheets, you'll get another set absolutely free.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
Non-attorney spokesperson. This is a paid advertisement for legal services sponsored by Nightline Legal. Cases assigned on a random basis to participating law firms.
This drug remains approved by the FDA.
If you or a loved one regularly took Zantac and were later diagnosed with cancer, call right now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. Potential cancers include bladder cancer, colon cancer, kidney cancer, stomach cancer, liver cancer, pancreatic cancer. Do not stop taking a prescribed medication without first consulting with your doctor. Discontinuing a prescribed medication without your doctor's advice can result in injury or death.
Call 1-800-230-9210.
Seniors, are you aware that you could pay less for your car insurance?
Seniors can save money on their car insurance.
You might save a little, you might save a lot.
Maybe hundreds of dollars a year.
You might save 5% a year, maybe 10%, 15%, or even more.
That's a lot of money. So call right now and find out just how much money you might be able to save.
1-800-699-0761. 1-800-699-0761.
Hi, it's me, Anthony Sullivan. And yes, you've actually caught me at home relaxing because life's been pretty worry-free since I got coverage with American Residential Warranty.
You won't believe what ARW covers. Heating and air conditioning, washers and dryers, kitchen appliances, plumbing, water heaters, electrical systems, flat screens and laptops, even pools and spas, and so much more.
Call American Residential Warranty. They'll get you covered.
1-800-219-1467.
Beck Communications is hiring. Beck Communications is seeking qualified candidates for plant technicians in our Wheatland, North Dakota location. Beck Communications is an equal opportunity employer. To view the job details, visit www.beck.coop. To apply, email your cover letter and resume to careers@bechtel.coop. Beck Communications, making connections that matter.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So before the break, we were talking about the election fraud measures, the anti-election fraud measures taken in Georgia. And I was talking to you about Missoula County, Montana, and I just forgot one other stat that I think is very interesting. So this is just a random audit that they did in just one county in Montana that went for Trump. There were 28 ballots from one nursing home. And all 28 signatures on each of these ballots looked identical. This is why we need laws like the one in Georgia. This is not about disenfranchising people. How many people are black in Montana, Barack Obama? Not that many. This is about election security, ballot security, period. And we should all want fair elections without this kind of fraud, period. All right, now, speaking of Joe Biden, in other news of Joe Biden, Jen Psaki. So Jen Psaki she does these, as I've called them before, hooker gymnastic contortions. She twists around because Joe Biden has done and said things that you can't really twist around from, but you can lie and dodge and pretend. And Ducey the Deuce, Peter Ducey, Fox News' White House correspondent, did it to her again. He asked a great question, and look how she twists and turns. Watch it.
The president said he thinks the filibuster is a legacy of the Jim Crow era. Did he think that it was a legacy of the Jim Crow era in 2005 when he defended the filibuster and said altering Senate rules to help one political fighter or another could become standard operating procedure, which in my view would be disastrous?
Well, Peter, one of the things he talked about yesterday was the fact that between 1917 and 1971, the filibuster was used about 58 times. Last year alone, it was used 5 times that many. It is not being used for the intended purpose. It is being abused. And yes, there are scenarios as it relates to voting rights where it is oppressing. It is allowing for systematic racism in the country. So that's the concern he was expressing.
And a follow on that, there are some concerns on the right that if you get rid of the filibuster, it effectively means one party rule. So is that what the president was getting at when he was asked about 2024, and he said, I have no idea if there will be a Republican Party.
Well, that certainly wasn't what he was getting at, given as part of his answer, he conveyed that his objective and his hope is to work with Republicans. He wants to get work done for the American people. He wants to put in place solutions, put people back to work, get the pandemic under control, make voting easier and more accessible. And it's really on Republicans in Congress to decide if they're going to be part of the solution or if they're going to be part of obstruction. So he's leaving it up to them to make the decision on what role they want to play in history.
All right, so you saw that. She did not really answer the question at all about why Joe Biden is now saying it's a Jim Crow law, the filibuster, when he was a strong supporter of it while he was in the Senate. I'll tell you why. He's a hypocrite, a fraud, and an opportunist. And he's an opportunist now trying to pretend he's all down with the struggle. How is this systematic racism? That's the one question I think Deucey the Deuce missed. I would have asked Jen Psaki, since she said this is systematic racism, which it isn't. It's a procedural device that black senators, by the way, have used for many years. There have been black senators for quite a while in the U.S. Senate. In fact, Edward Brooke from Massachusetts was a Republican. They've all used the filibuster. Not all of them, but many or most. And the fact is, it is the one way in the Senate that the senators have to exercise their power. I shouldn't say that it's the one way. There are actually a few ways, and it's different from the House of Representatives. So we all know the House of Representatives, it's apportioned, a certain number of people per district, everybody gets one vote. It's an equal vote. Some states have more representatives. We only have one in North Dakota. So we only get one vote in the House. With the Senate, we have the same numbers as everybody else. We got two. And you know what? Every senator, Senator Hoeven, Senator Kramer, every senator has the power to put holds on nominees by president. Just one senator can do that. You don't need a filibuster. You can put a hold. And there's a way to override a filibuster. There is cloture. There are other things they can do. So this is just wrong saying that it's a racism tool or it's systematic racism, as she said. For what? How? How is it? Give us some examples, Jen Psaki. He didn't do that. I think he missed that obvious question, but still, his questions are great. He's the only person here that is actually doing real journalism at the Biden White House at all. But the filibuster is important. If one senator wants to stop things, he can filibuster. Other senators can join up in that filibuster. That's an important tool, and it helps protect democracy. Right now, it's the only thing protecting the Republican Party. But guess what? When the Republicans controlled both the House and the Senate, and Trump was president for the first 2 years, guess who used it? The Democrats. But now, when the shoe is on the other foot, suddenly it's no. All right, so there's that. Now, speaking of racism, apparently every time we talk about this woman or mispronounce her name, we are racist. But Kamala Harris, look how she reacted when she was talking about parents trying to get their kids back to school and they can't do it. Apparently, this is very funny. Take a look.
More people are seeing that, yeah, affordable childcare is a big deal. More parents are seeing the value of educators when they had to bring their kids and said, we're not paying them nearly enough.
Oh my God. All right, I have a tweet about this, and I think it expresses my views best. Her bleeping cackle at every second word for the next 4 to 10 years. God help us. God help us. All right, so speaking of that, speaking of Biden administration officials saying ridiculous things and doing ridiculous things, there's Pete Buttigieg. So, as you recall, Joe Biden told us you're only going to get taxed if you earn more than $400,000 a year. And that has changed repeatedly over time. Senator Tom Cotton had a good tweet about it. We won't show it to you yet, because first I want you to take a look at this video with Pete Buttigieg. Take a look.
long-term answer.
What about a mileage-based tax?
So I think that shows a lot of promise. If we believe in that so-called user pays principle, the idea that part of how we pay for roads is you pay based on how much you drive, the gas tax used to be the obvious way to do it. It's not anymore. So a so-called vehicle miles traveled tax or mileage tax, whatever you want to call it, could be a way to do it.
So now they want to not just only tax you on your income, depending on how much you make, and it's not $400,000, we'll show you in a second, but they want to tax the average American. This is a regressive tax. This hurts people who are working class because you're going to get charged per mile. Think somebody rich is affected by this as much as you are? No, they're not. This is a regressive tax. Joe Biden is not for the little guy. So take a look at Tom Cotton's tweet about this. Biden campaign, if you make over $400,000, no new taxes. Biden last week, actually, if you make over $200,000, no new taxes. That's true. He changed the story. Biden administration now, new taxes for everyone who drives a car. What's next? Exactly. What is next? And now gas is almost $3 a gallon, so now you need to pay more during COVID? Are you serious? When people are out of jobs, the economy is a disaster, and people who have jobs are barely hanging on, you're going to make them pay per mile? Are you serious? Pay per mile to go to the grocery store, the supermarket? Please. All right, now, finally, in our Biden segment, Hunter Biden. Yep, he is back. He is not shamed at all by the gun scandal with the Secret Service that we told you about on Friday. Nope. He has his new book coming out next week, and he is promoting it. Some of the estimates say he might have gotten up to $2 million for this book, not as much as he got from the Chaycoms and Burisma and the widow of the mayor of Moscow, but he got up to $2 million for this new book called Beautiful Things. One of the beautiful things that's probably not in the book is his daughter with a stripper that he hasn't seen, and his father, the president, Joe Biden, hasn't seen at all since the girl was born, not even when she was born. And he says in his new book, because it's being released secretly to different media outlets, it's being leaked, he says that Donald Trump is a vile man with a vile mission. And all I have to say about that is, I don't know, do you have my tweet for that? I'm not sure. Yep. Does Hunter Biden ever look in the mirror? This guy doesn't live in a glass house. It's a glass mega mansion. Yep. All right, when we come back, we will talk about the George Floyd trial and some of the absurd things that are going on. That and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Do you worry about going to the dentist? After all, a visit to the dentist can easily cost $2,000 or more. Well, relax. The Carefree Dental Card is now available in your area. Call now and we'll send your actual card at no cost today. With the Carefree Dental Card, you go to the dentist whenever you need and you instantly pay a lot less. Activate your card and you can start using it immediately. From exams and cleanings to more expensive procedures like crowns, dentures, even braces, they're all included with the Carefree Dental Card. Say you go to the dentist today without any card and your bill is, well, ouch. Wait a minute, let's try that again. You go to the dentist today and show your Carefree Dental Card, you save $525. The Carefree Dental Card is just $15.95 a month, so call now and make going to the dentist carefree.
Call 1-800-416-5739 to receive your Carefree Dental Card information kit. 1-800-416-5739. Call now.
Beck Communications is now hiring independent sales agents around the state. We're looking for highly motivated individuals to take advantage of this opportunity, selling advertising for our news and sports programming on Beck TV and sponsorships for the Bismarck Bucks indoor football team. Independent sales agents will make 50% commission on their completed sales for all products. Beck TV is the leader in broadcasting local sports, owner of the Bismarck Bucks indoor football team, and originator of newly launched news opinion programming. Submit your application now at careers@bechtel.coop. This is an exciting opportunity you can't pass up. 50% commission for independent sales agents now hiring at Beck Communications.
I can't say enough good things about these nano hearing aids.
Real people talking about nano hearing aids.
The hearing quality is great.
Until now, hearing aids used to be too expensive for the average person. Until Nano Call now and you'll get your Nano hearing aids for only $297. You'll save $100. When you buy one hearing aid, Nano will give you a second hearing aid free. Call right now.
1-800-213-3815.
Who do you trust with your digital life? Not all cloud backup providers keep your data truly private. Beck Cloud Backup uses advanced multi-layer encryption to keep your family photos, videos, and sensitive business documents secure and only for your eyes. Your Beck Lightband Internet service already includes 50 gigs of free storage to keep your digital life safe and secure. Call us at 701-475-2361 to start using your Beck Cloud Backup today.
Attention! Have you or a loved one suffered from maculopathy, a serious retinal injury, after taking the prescription drug Elmiron for interstitial cystitis or bladder pain syndrome? In 2018, a researcher at the Emory School of Medicine linked Elmiron, a prescription drug that treats interstitial cystitis or bladder pain syndrome, to maculopathy, which is sight-threatening and can cause an abrupt change of vision. Call Elmiron Justice for a free legal consultation.
Please call 800-395-5680.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. As you know or should know, the George Floyd trial, and it's not the George Floyd trial, but that's how it's been referred to. It's actually the Derek Chauvin trial that is going on right now in downtown Minneapolis, Stan. So there are a lot of things going on with this trial. I've been following it, and a lot of things really irk me. The first one, and we've mentioned this on the show before, but I want to show you some video, is the protesters outside. Take a look. All right, as I've said before on this show, on previous episodes, can you imagine you're a juror, you're traversing that, going through the gauntlet of that every single day to the trial, because there's no other trial going on in that building. That building is closed to the public. Only this trial is going on, I believe, on the 18th floor. But every day you have to drive by this, you walk near it, you can hear the noise. Are you going to be fair? It's going to be very, very difficult for Derek Chauvin to get a fair trial when these jurors are walking through this. This will affect their decision because they don't want all these rioters, all these protesters going after them like we've seen all year long. They see these people. And this is really, I think, prejudicial to his ability to get a fair trial. It's just not possible with that kind of thing going on all day, every day during the trial, which it is. And they're doing that, those protests, to do that, to affect these jurors. I think this is the kind of thing that an appeal would successfully ride on, possibly depending on which judges you would appeal it to. It's prejudicial, it's unfair, and both sides should not want this because they should want a fair decision that is not appealable. The other thing about this is that the judge in this case is unfair. He could have ordered that there would be no protests anywhere within a mile of the courthouse. He could have done that. It's perfectly constitutional. He didn't do it. He's not fair to Derek Chauvin. And listen, I don't like the knee on the neck, but there's a lot about that, as we've discussed on the show. We'll get to that maybe on tomorrow's show. But he deserves a fair trial, just like you or I would want a fair trial if we were accused of something. And we've shown you on the show, the knee has nothing to do with why George Floyd died. Everything rides on the fact that George Floyd, or it should ride on the fact that George Floyd used 3 2/3 times the amount of a fatal dose of fentanyl. Or I'm sorry, not fentanyl. He was also on fentanyl, but of one of the other drugs. And I'm at a loss right now. We've mentioned the drug before. He's also on methamphetamines. Maybe it was fentanyl that he used 3 2/3 time, but he was also on meth, and he was on a number of other things, and he was in poor health. That's why he died. And this is just totally unfair what they're doing to him. Now, we did have some opening statements. We don't have a lot of time before the show, so I won't go into them. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow. But I will tell you, the opening statements were Monday. You probably saw snippets of them. I think that Derek Chauvin's lawyer did a great job, and I think that the state's lawyer put in too much information. And there are too many lawyers. They have this gang of lawyers against Derek Chauvin's lone lawyer, who's, I think, doing a better job than all of them. And I think he's doing a great job given the facts and given the media attention and everything that's been going on. Now, we'll get to more of this tomorrow. But tonight, I want to end the show by remembering my friend, G. Gordon Liddy, who passed away yesterday at the age of 90. You probably know him of Watergate fame in President Nixon's administration, but he paid the price. He did his time. Frankly, those of you who would look into Watergate, you would see it was trumped up by a bunch of liberal, primarily Senate, but some House Democrats who were mad at President Nixon, that he was cutting their welfare programs, their big state New Society programs, and they went after him with Watergate. G. Gordon Liddy went on to be an actor, a successful actor, and also a syndicated radio host for over 20 years. That's how I knew him. We never met in person, but we communicated online. He linked to a lot of my articles and my work on his website and discussed them on his show. That's how I got a lot of my fans and readers and friends politically. And this guy was an American patriot, a loyal Christian, politically incorrect, very funny, razor sharp, just a super wit and a great American. He will be missed. George Battle Gordon Liddy, rest in peace. Remember, things aren't always as they seem. See you tomorrow.